So today our Normbot is out on the street to go see Saw 6 at The Great Escape. Very nice theater. And this is where I went to go see Halloween 2. So let's hope that Saw 6 is a little bit better than that. And as you can see, it is raining a little bit. So it's kind of nice, perfect dreary day to go see a horror film. So let's hope that it turns out to be really good. So here's the poster for Saw 6. And actually, it's a pretty cool poster. From a distance, I thought it was like a tear in the paper and they had the thing coming through, but looking it up close, it's like a wheel and it has a bunch of people strapped to it. And down here you see it says 6. So, Halloween. Well, actually, that's a pretty cool poster. I like it. Okay. So, heading into the Great Escape right now to go see Saw 6. I thought it would be better if I went through all the Saw films and kind of give you an idea, or the ratings I would have given the first 5 Saw films. Because Vince and I have never really got to review any of the Saw films on the show here. So I figured it would be better so you know where I'm coming from when I review Saw 6, okay? So the first Saw movie, to my surprise, it was amazing. Basically, the first Saw was more or less like an Alfred Hitchcock film, with a twist ending, and you didn't know where it was going, and you had these, strange characters, and it was just great. And it was more focused on story than it was just the blood and guts and torture. As the Saw movies progressed, that's kind of what it went into. So the first Saw I loved. I would give a Golden Norman to. Saw 2 came out, and I once again did not go to show to go see Saw 2. So I ended up renting it, and I was really disappointed with the second movie. The direction it kind of took. It was basically like a slasher film was all it was. A bunch of people stuck in a house trying to find their way out of the game that Jigsaw created for them. And yeah, it wasn't the best of the Saw series. In fact, it's probably my least favorite of the Saw series, the second one. So the second one I would have to give a 2 out of 5. And then we get on to part 3, and this is where I actually started going to the show to go see the Saw series. And after the second one, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to see the third one, but I figured, okay, this is an ongoing franchise, and I'm a real big fan of horror franchises like, Friday the 13th and Nightmare and Halloween and even the Chucky series and, all that stuff. I'm a real big fan of it. And I guess Saw is our last remaining one that we have right at the moment. That's not gone into remakes yet. But anyway, so when Saw 3 came out, I went to go see it, and I was blown away by Saw 3. It actually what became one of my favorite of the series. It was just, yeah, the gore finally kind of kicked in really with the third movie, which, some people didn't like because they more or less like the story. They go to see these Saw movies for the story, not so much for the gore. But yeah, the gore doesn't bother me when it's just when you go see a Saw film, you have to expect that. You have to expect something that's just going to gross you out. And I kind of thought that was the testament of the Saw films. I mean, you go into it and you just get grossed out by them. I mean, at this point, by the third one, that's kind of what they were going for, is just to gross you out. And they did. The third one, I think, is probably the grossest of the series. But it was also the best of the series because the story, again, became really good. So the third one I would have to give a 5 out of 5. And the fourth one was good, but it wasn't anywhere around as good as the third one. But the ending of the fourth one was they had that big twist ending on the fourth one. And it was great. The ending of the fourth one, it kind of changed the whole movie perspective when you're watching. You're like, oh, that's awesome. So the fourth one gets a 4 out of 5. So the fifth one disappointed me a little bit again. I went into it because the fourth one was good. I enjoyed it, but I went into the fifth one. I didn't really know what to expect at this point of the series. So you get into the fifth one, and it wasn't as bad as like the second one, but it was kind of the weaker of the series, I think. The characters in the fifth one just weren't as solid as they were in some of the past Saw movies. So the fifth one for me gets a 3 out of 5. Now on to Saw 6. Okay, wasn't even planning on going to see Saw 6, because after kind of the disappointment of Saw 5, I was just like, the Saw movies are getting kind of stale. I don't know if I want to continue going to show to go see these. But, then I thought, well, I've already seen 3, 4, and 5 at the show. I might as well just go see Part 6 to see, where the series is going. And all I can say is I am so glad I did go see this at the show, because Saw 6 has become one of my favorites of the series now, which is amazing now. 6 films into the series, 6 of them, and it still manages to surprise you. That's what's so great about some of these Saw films. You go into them expecting the worst out of them, and then you just come out saying, wow, that was really actually very good. And what I really like about the Saw series, above everything, is Tobin Bell. He is awesome. I mean, he is such a underrated, great actor. He's so creepy as the Jigsaw character, and he's so intense with his acting ability, and he's just awesome character. And he's pretty much throughout Saw 6. And he's like one of the main characters in Saw 6, actually. And that's what I really liked about Saw 6, because I like him so much. Above everything else in this film, what was so good, once again, was the story. You got a good, really good, solid story again for Saw 6. Going back to the third one and the first one, it's not as good as the first one, but, it's still a really good, solid story for the Saw franchise here. And what was great about this one is different from all the other ones are the people that Jigsaw put into the game, the ones that he, basically torches throughout the movie, are people you don't really like. All the other Saw movies, they kind of made you want to like these characters and try to say, oh, well, it's hard to watch them suffering because you kind of like the characters. This one they took a different approach to, and it was basically, I don't like these people, and that was kind of the fun of this movie. Is you kind of feel sorry for the person going through it, but on the other hand, they're such like a scumbucket that you're kind of hoping that Jigsaw does his very worst to these people. So that's what made Saw 6 so fun to watch. So I went into Saw 6 really not with any kind of anticipation or any sort of expectation of any kind whatsoever, and I came out really excited about the series again. I mean, it's really energized me to see Saw 7, which I can't wait for now after watching Part 6, which is amazing for a series that's been going on this long, to still get you interested in what's happening and get you excited about seeing the next one. It definitely has done that for me. So I can't wait for Part 7. I will go see it. I won't hesitate like Part 6. So hopefully Part 7, which will probably come out next year, won't disappoint me. So out of a scale of 1 to 5, Saw 6 gets a 5 out of 5. Really entertaining film, and it does gross you out. It is gross, but it has a lot of really inventive, kind of interesting games that they put together for these people to go through and traps and try to get out of. And it seems like they put more thought into this one than they have for the last couple of movies, and it pays off big time. So if you're any kind of Saw fan and you're kind of hesitant to go see a sixth of the series, don't be, because this is one of the best they've done. So absolutely, if you're any kind of Saw fan, go see this. But I will have to say that if you've never seen any of the Saw films, especially the last four, or last three, like 3, 4, and 5, you go into this, you probably won't know what's going on. If you're not a Saw fan and you haven't seen at least the last 3, then probably stay away from this one. But if you're a big Saw fan and have seen the whole series, absolutely will love this film. So go see it.
Baby, take my